kind of wanted to go last because I didn't want anybody to have to follow this. It's like really where to begin. Is there anybody else that feels like this is just surreal? Because like I know that's how it is for me. You know, I caught myself driving home from the gym the other day, and I went to call my mother. Because that's what I did every day for decades. I called home and I talked to my mother, and it felt so natural. Like there wasn't a second, and I realized at the moment that God is, you know, mom's not here anymore. Mom's not here right now. But it didn't seem real. I remember the night after she passed, we're at my Aunt Shirley and Uncle Bruce's house, and we're all sitting around the table, and we're laughing and we're eating and we're sharing stories. And I kept looking around the table, like, where's Mom? Like, I felt like she just must be in the bathroom or something. She just got up and stepped away for a second, because I swear to God she was there. She's in those every moments. It doesn't feel like she's not with us anymore. I remember the night that she passed, you know, after hospice had come, the funeral home came, and they were, you know, removing her body from the home. And I'm looking around at this scene of the hustle and bustle in the house and people getting ready to leave, and I found myself thinking, I can't wait to tell Mom about this. Like, it was just the most bizarre thought. It was this unfiltered thought that went through my head. And I don't know why it feels so surreal. Like with all things in life, it's so nuanced. There's so many reasons for it. There's no one answer. You know, part of it maybe is because it was so rapid and so quick. And we were grieving different things in real time. If we never really processed one piece of information before we were on to the next, I don't know. You know, it's cruelly ironic. The day that Mom had her last appointment with Dr. Andrade, the day that they told her they were going to discontinue treatment, the day that they told her that they felt she had 3 months to live. Just hours before, I booked a work trip to Boston for the first weekend in May. With the plan being, I'm going to fly into Boston, I'm going to rent a car, I'm going to drive to Woodstock, I'll fly back home out of Albany. Like I'll make a trip out of it. I'm not going to miss the opportunity to be home if I'm that close to New York. After I got that news, I had to think, I don't know if Mom's going to be there. And not just like, is Mom going to be in New York? Is Mom going to be in Massachusetts? Is Mom going to be in the Northeast? I don't know if Mom is going to be on the same plane of existence with us at that point. And it was an interesting thought to have, because it made me realize anywhere we go, any situation we're in, there's no promise that that person will be there. I had just gotten back from a trip to Chicago for work. It never crossed my mind, will my colleague Gloria be there when I get there? No, because in a way we take those things for granted. And it's not until we have to think about the fact that, you know, some things are final, some things are some things are questioned, nothing's a given. We don't process it. We just kind of take it for granted. If I can find some positives in everything that's happened, and that can be a challenge to do, it's that we got this gift of time to say goodbye, you know, and knowing the progress of things, and hearing that there's 3 months, we were able to say, where so often people are just taken from us. Like we go to sleep every night and set alarm clocks with this tacit assumption that we're going to wake up in the morning, but that's not a given. You know, we think we can see people at any point. It's never a given. It can always disappear, and all too often people are taken from us without that chance to say goodbye. But we got to say goodbye to Mom. We got to spend time that we might have otherwise taken for granted. Or we have those conversations. How many conversations where we just talk about the weather or some mundane minutia, because it seems like there's always times for those bigger conversations, but it's never a given. I'm really privileged. I've been in New York for almost a month. Like I've been in New York a lot. I'm so glad I got to be home. You know, and so often it seems like this challenge, like, I gotta live on the other side of the country now, like not California side, but Florida side. It's a distance. It's enough. It's enough where it's a challenge to come home, but you know, it's priorities change. Right, like I heard that mom needed me. I heard that mom's time was limited, and I found a way to get here. I'm so glad I got to be with my family, to be with mom near the end. And it's important for me to be up here today to be able to tell this story. And this is always going to be carrying her story forward. But for those of you that couldn't be here around the clock, like I had the incredible fortune to be, I want you to know what Margaret's experience on this earth was like, and some of the things that happened during that time. It's so fortunate that we got to spend my mom's last St. Patrick's Day together, because believe it or not, she was like really into that. Right, so like, I remember telling the hospice as they came that night to confirm. It was like, I don't know if you noticed, but my mom's really Irish. Right, and it was so great to have my Aunt Mary Ellen and my Uncle Michael and my cousin Megan, and we got to spend St. Patrick's Day, and we went to the cemetery. We'll all be heading down the road. Again, hard to believe, surreal. You know, we all went to visit my father at the cemetery, and she got to have her corned beef and cabbage, a little bit that she could eat, but she got to have it. You know, she noticed when we were there that we couldn't hang up all the pictures that she wanted to hang up at my father's gravesite. So I went back that next day, following Wednesday, to hang the pictures up. And I had a long conversation with my dad. And I talked to him and said, I want to promise you that I'm going to take care of Mom until she can be back with you. And I had a really long, deep conversation with my dad, and I made a lot of promises. And that became my guiding light for everything through the end, to this day and beyond. So, like, my only objective is to honor and respect my mother. Like, I had the privilege of knowing what her wishes were and have some of those deeper conversations, and that's going to guide my every single action. You know, on Thursday, 2 days after St. Patrick's Day, in a lot of ways, I feel like that was Mom's last good day. And selfishly, I'm glad that I got to spend so much of the day with her. You know, we went to Kingston Hospital. We did like a saline infusion. She was really, like, always felt that invigorated her. So we took the long trip out there, and I sat with her for an hour while we did that. Came back home. She took a nap. It's kind of like exhausting to leave the house for the day. And then we came here. We came here and we made our final plans. Made all the arrangements. It's hard to believe that, a week later we were sitting here and she'd already passed. But we were able to do all that together. And we had some great conversations in the car. We just got like some mommy daddy time, or some mommy son time. And it was really valuable to have those conversations about, like, I need you to tell me what you want and what you need, and to have her be able to speak to me as an adult and not a child or a family member, but adult to adult. I mean, how can I best honor and serve you? What do you want and need, so I can make sure that that's addressed? And I'm happy to be entrusted in seeing those wishes through. I told her that night, which is my last night in town. I left Friday morning with my incredible friend Eric, who always picks me up at the odd hours of the night. Like, I left at 4 o'clock in the morning on Fridays. I'm not going to wake anybody up. So Thursday night was effectively my last night for the visit, the week of St. Patrick's Day. I told her before we went to bed, Mom, I want you to know that I had a conversation with Dad yesterday. And I promised Dad that I would make sure that you are comfortable, that you're psychologically comfortable, you're physically comfortable. I promised him that I would watch over you and that I would see you through to the end. And she smiled at me. It was this look of relief. I can't describe. My mom had a beautiful smile. Everybody in this room knows it. I can't describe it to you, that exact type of smile that she had. But she smiled at me and she said, that means a lot. And I kissed her goodnight and I left the room, and that was it for that trip to New York. Surprisingly, Friday morning I got home. Sunday night I was on a plane back to New York. It was a very quick turnaround. Things progressed so quickly. I'd like to think that it brought her a lot of peace to be told that she was in good hands, that she'd be watched over, and what she wanted and needed would be respected. Like, that she'd have somebody fighting for her, advocating for her, always. When I did get back to New York, Mom wasn't really leaving the bed. I spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I barely left her bedside. I know that may sound weird, but yeah, I got to kind of snuggle with my mom. I was standing vigil. It was primarily me and her cat Coco, just folded up at her feet, like not leaving her side. Sometimes I just got to rest my head on my mom's shoulder and just be with her and be present with her. And I remember telling her that first night, Mom, I'm sure there were so many points where I was a child and sick in bed, and I'm sure you did the same thing for me. I'm sure that you laid next to me and held me close and comforted me. At the other side of things, I just want to return the favor. And again, she said that means a lot. That the Wednesday that Mom passed, she had some challenges being comfortable. Like it's the day that was probably the worst day. But we were able to manage her pain, and thanks to hospice and thanks to having so much love and support in the household, I truly feel that things were managed. And I do want to say, for whatever solace can provide, and I think so many people are worried about with this terrible disease, like did Mom suffer? I can assure you that she did not. I was laying in bed with Mom as she passed. And I remember, it's all day long, she kind of had this constant moan and she couldn't get comfortable. And then eventually everybody left the house and she fell asleep, fully fell asleep for the first time. And at first, the moaning stopped. And then she was just sawing wood. She was snoring so deeply. It was laughably deeply, just complete deep sleep. And then suddenly she wasn't. And there was no gasping for air. There was no whimper. There's no shudder. She just peacefully slipped away and went into the next life. It was beautiful to be there for it. This guy heard the snoring and then it just stopped. And then I checked for a pulse and I checked to hear a breath and I couldn't hear it was there. So I whispered in her ear, Mom, you can go home now. And I came to tell my sisters, okay, I think Mom's gone. But I can assure you, here, for whatever solace it might offer, my mother did not suffer, and she passed peacefully, and she passed exactly the way she would have wanted to pass. And I was there for it in real time. An interesting thing happened before she passed, though. It's right near as everybody's getting ready to leave the house. We have such this amazing support, and we look around the room, half of you were there that day. So many people were in the house. And it was getting later, and there was a second round of medication from hospice had come. The biggest struggle throughout Wednesday was her getting comfortable in bed. She'd be on her back, she'd be on this side, then wouldn't be on this side. There's no position where she could get comfortable. And really only the best way I could manage it was laying in bed next to her and get my arm underneath her and pull another arm around and just have to hold her in place. We tried propping her up with wedges and pillows, and it never really seemed to hold. Most of the time, it seemed I'm just going to keep my hands on you as long as I can. And as long as you feel comfortable when you want to change again, I'll just hold you up in this position to give you some respite. It probably was about 5:30 that night. She said, I don't know what to do. I just can't get comfortable. And she asked to roll over. Which way do you want to go, Mom? She wanted to come towards me. And I pulled her over, and she held me so tight. She held me with a strength that I didn't know she still had left in her. And it was for 5 minutes, and it was glorious. There was no words, nothing was said. We just held each other. We just embraced each other so tightly and so closely. It's just the greatest gift she could have ever given me, and I savored every second of it. And eventually she says, "That's too hot. I'm getting uncomfortable. I gotta lay back down." But I'm so grateful that I got to have that moment with her right near the end. Some of this, I've said this to some of you in the room before. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've reflected on everything with my mom, this is something I kind of alluded to with that, that trip to Boston. until things are explicitly finite, we think of them as infinite. We think we've always got time, right? But at the end of the day, almost everything is finite. Almost everything has some sort of an expiration date. We just don't think of it that way. And in this moment, like, time with Mom was finite. Like, it really framed the way of looking at life and looking at every interaction. And like, how different would our lives be, would this world be, if we looked at every interaction like that? If we didn't leave things unsaid, if we didn't procrastinate and put off to tomorrow what we could do, if we didn't take for granted that that person's going to be there, it really could change a lot of things. I'm sorry that it took me this many years in my life in this situation for me to really start to process that mind frame. When's the last time that you just held somebody you loved for 5 minutes and just held them close and just were with them? Because I tell you, it's an incredible feeling. And we don't need to wait till somebody's on their deathbed to do it. You know, there's a lot of things I got to talk to Mom about in those last days. And there's things that I didn't get to. Like, I wanted to ask her to tell me what it felt like to fall in love with my father. I wanted to really understand that story, like adult to adult. What did it feel like to have, what were her favorite parts of being a mom? What was her favorite part of parenthood? Like, what, you know, was she scared? What made her happiest? What are her best memories? I don't know, I never got to have that conversation. I never got to ask her, what do you think is on the other side? Are you nervous about it? Are you scared about it? What are you looking forward to? I didn't get to have those big conversations because so many of those phone calls home were just about the weather and about the little thing of what we do today. I still feel like there was a lot that I was able to unpack with her. And I have an immense amount of gratitude that I was able to spend that time with my mother. I have an immense gratitude that I spent 45 years with my mother. Like, what a gift. You know, and you know, I think there may be some asks that I have for everybody in this room as we think about remembering my mother. And one of them would be to honor that ultimate scarcity of life in our existence. I mean, every time that you feel yourself procrastinating, every time you feel like a conversation like now's not the time, let's put it off. Just please remember Margaret. Just always remember Margaret, and remember that we don't have unlimited time with people, especially the people that we love. And let's maximize that. And then I think too, you know, as I mentioned earlier, that phone call home I made every day. You know, the phone number to Woodstock in my phone is still listed as Mom, Dad. And I'm never going to change that. Because when I call that number, even though they might not pick up the phone, I know they're there. And I'm going to keep on calling that number. And my sister Jennifer had come home from having an amazing visit in the city with her amazing friend Ashton. And she told me, Jimmy, what makes me so sad is that I just wanted to tell Mom about it. As soon as I got home, I just wanted to tell Mom about it, because that's what we did. We told her about every amazing thing in our lives. I told Jen, you can still do that. You should still do that. Talk to Mom. I talk to Mom every day for over 2 decades, and I'm not going to stop. Talk to Mom. Say her name. As long as Mom exists, Margaret to most of you, as long as she exists in our minds, in our hearts, and her name is on our lips, and she's in the pictures and the stories that we share, she's still with us. That's ask number 2. To honor Margaret, speak her name. Talk to her every day. She's still there. And third, I know this is a lot of asks. I know that this sucks. Sorry, Father. I know it's sad and it hurts and it seems unfair and there doesn't seem to be a logic in it, and maybe there's a logic that's not ours to understand. And my mother was one of the most joyful people that's ever walked this earth. And I doubt that anybody in this room would contest that. Would my mother live in sorrow? Is that what you want her legacy to be? Absolutely not. So while we can experience the sadness and this loss, we can celebrate the fact that we were all given the gift of sharing the world with this phenomenal woman. It was an absolute gift. For as long or as little of a time as we were able to share on this earth with her, that we did, and celebrate that every day. We're going to process grief, we're going to process sorrow, but we can keep her name alive, and we can remember the incredible difference that we made, and just know how lucky we were to exist alongside her. I promised my mom that I would do the obituary and I would give her a eulogy. My mom was a really strong woman. I don't think that she needed help. I don't think that she needed a shepherd. And I am so proud that I was able to be one anyway. Thank you.